Jason Wilson and Mervyn King, the man who beat Michael van Gerwen famously at the UK Open earlier on in the month. We've seen some thrilling matches already tonight, not least the last one between Nico Kurtz and Kim Huybrechts. Kurtz missing match starts before going out 6-5 to the Belgian. That's one of two last leg deciders already tonight. Matt Edgar beaten by Christopher Teichke in leg 11. And Jeffrey Desvan saw off Josh Payne with ease 6-1 in between. And Mervyn King, Paul, has already found something not quite to his liking, it seems, up on that stage.
A bit of a perfectionist, let's put it that way. I know Mervyn very well, and he has graced our commentary box on many occasions. But he is a bit of a perfectionist, not just at darts. And that's one of the reasons why he's been so successful, because he's very particular with his preparation and his equipment and how he approaches every match. He's the same with his golf stuff and how he goes about, you know, his life with his motorbikes and things like that. It's just who he is. But funnily enough, you just mentioned that MVG thing with the UK Open. Winner of this one plays MVG.
Yes, a chance to get revenge for the revenge.
Yet seasons where you just can't get rid of people, and it seems like MVG can't get rid of Mervyn King.
First leg, Mervyn to throw first. Game on.
Yes, well, it all started when Michael beat Mervyn at a Pro Tour event in the semi-final, and there were a few words exchanged, not directly to each other, but in interviews there and at the UK Open between the pair. So we could have ding-ding round 3 in round 2, but first Mervyn has to get past the man that I'm informed goes under the nickname Stone Cold, Jason Wilson.
Well, if you're not a wrestling fan, I'm guessing the reason for that is because he's follically challenged.
140.
Yes, a resemblance to Steve Austin.
I should walk out to the glass smashing and have a leather waistcoat on then, and come on with a quad bike. That would be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and then play Peter Hudson, so we'd have Stone Cold on the Rock.
Very good indeed.
Or Nigel Hayden.
Or the Undertaker.
Anyway, it's the King that he's got to deal with here.
Well, Triple H is the King of Kings, so we're close there.
But he took off the match with the King of Finishers.
The biggest wrestling fan in world darts. He was eliminated in game 1 of this evening. That's Matthew Edgar. Ratajski got that one. And Mervyn King is doing a solid job here in the first leg. Mervyn won 2 games to get to this stage. Jay won 3. And Mervyn King.
81.
Look at Mark McGeaney on the way here. 6-3, and Dafford Edwards 6-0. So that's pretty good. And here he is, leaving double 16 as per usual.
54.
That was a very wide dart at double 16 for Mervyn, and that facial expression tells a story.
Well, he's allowed the luxury of a miss of such a margin because Wilson is stranded a long, long way behind.
78.
Mervyn will look to
requires 16.
put it right by pinning double 8.
He's the best in the world at this dart. Just shifting to the right and finding the mark. He's done it for years. He taught that shift to the right to Peter Wright, and he's one of the best as well. But for me, Mervyn is the best at doing that I've ever seen.
Former world master, of course, Mervyn King hasn't picked up his PDC major yet, but not for want of trying. In fact, there isn't a single current PDC major that Mervyn King has played in and hasn't reached the semi-finals.
That's no surprise to me, considering what he's been doing since the mid-90s. He's just always there. You could probably count on one pair of hands how many majors he's missed in all that time. There have not been many.
Yeah, the only one that he had competed in was the Las Vegas Desert Classic. Reached the World Finals 10 years ago. Same year that he was beaten in the
121.
final of the Premier League.
Wasn't that the event where he got 3 consecutive 180s?
He did,
he
yes,
finished
against Darren Young.
Yeah, he finished the leg 180, 180, and went 180 in the start of the next one, something like that.
It may have even been 4. I think it was 4 against
100.
Darren Young. Big Daddy, as we carry on the theme.
We haven't got a giant haystacks in darts.
140.
But we almost had another 180 there from Mervyn. Now, Jason Wilson likes to be called Jay. You can see by the back of his shirt, he prefers that. He came through Jason Askew, Stephen Burton, who's been playing very well the last few months, and Kevin Garcia, 6'5", so he's in a bit of a squeaky one to get through. He'll be buoyed by the fact that he is here.
Level 16.
84.
And once again, Mervyn King on a finish, on a double, and Wilson somewhere behind.
He's just doing a professional job, isn't he? Jay's not putting him under much pressure,
26.
so Merv is just plodding along, doing his thing, and leaving the doubles that he prefers. And ordinarily, that is double 16 and double 8.
Them shots.
That was a push.
12.
He will not be happy about that. He did throw that second dart rather quickly.
Rather quickly, and didn't move back to his starting position. So he had a kind of a lesser distance to throw at for double 4, having moved to the right. Could he do this? Mervyn King has bad memories of 145 hit against him.
I was just about to say that. That would have been ironic. Someone who was follically challenged hitting a 145 against him. Left or right, Merv? Left. And in. 2-0 to Mervyn King.
Slightly left. And he's left himself needing 4 more legs, and he is breezing through this after surviving the scare of the 145. Of course, cast your mind back to World Grand Prix 2012, when Michael van Gerwen evolved into the green machine.
83.
It wouldn't surprise me if Merv still has nightmares about that game, because he was bruising. He was playing so well, and he probably feels that that was his. Just didn't get the job done. But then again, it was very close when I was in the final with him. It was only 13-11. It was a really close final of the Players' Championship in 2010. But the Masters as well, that he lost to James Wade, that was really close. He actually mismatched darts in that match.
Yeah, he's never failed to turn up for the finals. Just hasn't been able to get over the line. Jason Wilson, the 145 for him would have been the first 140 or more score of the match, but he managed to do it in the very next visits at the start of this leg, and he's taken this leg to King, who's been coasting so far.
There's a bit more force in those last 2 darts there. He's just trying to get them to fly a little bit harder, his Merv. But Jay's made semi-final of a Challenge Tour this year. It's one of the reasons why he was able to go to the qualifiers for this event. And the last time he made a semi-final on the Challenge Tour was May of 2014. It's a long time between drinks. But in between those 2 semi-finals, he actually made a quarter-final on the Pro Tour.
140.
There is Matt Edgar.
He's just tweeted, hasn't he?
Yes.
Saying he's definitely not pleased with what transpired earlier. Well, Matt, the thing is,
60.
defeat is not supposed to be sweet. It's supposed to be sour.
Yeah, he'd give anything to be back up on that stage. He had massive opportunities in that match against Ratajski. Could have been home and hose. Mervyn King.
38.
Well, we'll feel he should be halfway there, but we'll also feel he'll be back.
Well, in the 145, we got the first 2. Dart 1's good. Can he go to the right and hit the target? Can't. And Mervyn has said in the past that he hates tops.
82.
He won't hate it if he hits it.
40.
We'll go 8 double 16, Merv.
Straight down the neck of it. And that's a beautiful, beautiful tops. There's not a lot changed with Mervyn over the last few years. Do you remember the early part of his career when he used to wear those really shiny shirts?
I've seen the footage.
The purple one and the red one, and I have no idea how he used to wear those things. They were so satiny. They were like Joan Collins sheets.
Very regal. All part of the persona.
Well, the darts haven't changed much over the years, and he's fiddled about with a couple of different sets. A straight barrel with some red rings on it, and at one point he went to a dart that had lots of dimples in it, more like a golf ball. But ultimately he went back to the faithfuls, which are the swirly ones.
Yeah, like the old bamboo canes, aren't they?
That's
Mervyn
it.
King's darts.
He has been playing some decent darts this year. But you expect it. It's very much like Steve Beaton, isn't it? Those old England teammates from back in the 90s and early 2000s, they have that quality of staying power. Just consistently doing enough to constantly be in TV events and making a great living for themselves and still being in with a shout for titles.
Well, let's not forget he won one last year on the Pro Tour. Beat James Wade in the final with an excellent performance, 104 average. So 2 ton plus checkouts on the table.
I know which one I'd rather have.
Well, Wilson couldn't tuck into the big fish, could he? So now King getting his knife and fork out for the 1-2-1. Well, Paul Nicholson is frustrated at Mervyn's decision making there.
We'll come back to that. But now it's double 10 for Jay. Plenty of room.
Well, are we going to see consecutive bad decisions? Because we know what Mervyn is going to do here as well.
16-14 bull. What he does, double 11. Ooh, squeezed really close. But it was on the inside. Jay can't afford to miss more doubles. He's got to start putting pressure on King. That's a lovely dart. Trying to fire himself up a little bit.
Does give it the full Stone Cold celebration, doesn't he, Jay Wilson?
I don't mind that at all. I think Mervyn saw that and heard that. And he may have uttered his favourite word.
Really?
Yeah, going back to what Mervyn did in the previous leg, there are shots, and we have had, well, more specifically, Chris, you have had
67
Twitter polls about certain shots and what is the correct way to go. Now, you've done your 65 poll, which I was part of. I won't tell you what my answer was.
121.
But for 121, going for the bullseye is the wrong shot. I don't care what anybody says, because if you hit a bullseye, still got to hit a treble.
Yes,
to get a double.
Particularly when your opponent is on a finish, and particularly when your opponent is on a simple 2-dart finish.
Yeah, get the treble 20 or a treble 17, for instance.
Not often that you will see a player have 6 darts from 1-2-1 and get 1 dart at double 11 at the end of it.
Yeah. Yeah, get the treble, get a single, get a shot at the bull, and if you want to gamble on the treble, that's your prerogative, and give yourself a shot at that requisite double. But going for the bull first, for me, is not correct. That is an amazing 180. Oh, Jay Wilson is egging this crowd on a little bit.
And I know a man who's not going to like that, because he almost caught for one in the eye there, Mervyn King. Wilson had the arm extended and the finger pointed, and it was directed at the crowd. But Mervyn King almost placed himself at the end of it.
I think that was a bit audacious, and it could spice up the cup of tea that is this match. And if Mervyn can just forget about what's going on with Jay and just get on with it.
So he's looking at Jay's score now. Feels sure he'll go for treble 20. He has done. Double 16. Now double 8.
Well, we're not going to get an excitement burst from Mervyn because he doesn't do that unless it's absolutely necessary. But that was a very good shot from Mervyn.
Yeah, it felt sweet to him. You could see it just in his face as we followed him down the hockey at the end of it.
41.
The thing is, there's no point in Mervyn getting embroiled in anything with Jay. If he wants to have fun and get excited up there, just let him. Mervyn
100.
knows from experience that if he just gets on with his job, he's going to win this match. He's 3 clear. He's doing enough. He's averaging more. He's on 92 to Jay's 83. Yes, his doubles aren't up stratospherically at the minute. They're only at 29%. But for Mervyn, this is about getting the job done. He's doing that right now.
Yep, solid stuff. Professional performance from Mervyn King.
Each and every year we seem to be losing stalwarts from the game and then greeting more young talent coming through.
42.
I wonder how many years Mervyn's got left, you know.
Well, there are a couple, aren't they, in action tonight? Mervyn being one of them that just don't seem to be showing any signs of disappearing, and that's this man and Steve Beaton.
140.
Don't even get me started, Chris, on a darts world without Steve Beaton. I mean, I can't even comprehend it.
Evergreen, isn't he, Steve Beaton? Always looks so calm and relaxed. Mervyn, yes, he's been around forever seemingly, but he does seem to sort of struggle through, doesn't he? He looks like he's been in the wars at the end of a match.
Mervyn, you require 161.
How many times has Mervyn hit this in his career? Not going to be adding to that tally. But he has put an enormous hole in it.
130, sir.
Well, if Jay's intention was to try and rattle the king with a little bit of bravado, it hasn't worked.
93. Mervyn, you
Well,
require
I think his
24.
intention was to enjoy himself, and he's only really had one moment in which he's been able to do that. Anything to celebrate here for Wilson?
I think Mervyn's done the right
score.
thing there by busting it. It could have been a bit... He went for the bull
Yeah.
for that bust, and
Trying to bust it on the bull's never the wisest ploy, is it?
yeah,
Because
imagine
it
if he
could
had
end
a
up
small
anywhere.
one, leaving himself 5.
100. Mervyn, you require 24.
Well, back to the drawing board, Mervyn. Double 12. Last effort wasn't brilliant. Double 6, 1 left.
12.
Was he a bit scared of
Jason, you require 98.
repeating the trick from the previous visit there? The
Shouldn't be.
first start was a long way out.
He loves double 6. Straight down the pipe. Double 19. How does he hit that?
60.
So close.
Mervyn, you
Well, yeah,
require
the answer was he
12.
doesn't, but it wasn't far away. King survives the scare. Having a little bit of trouble in this segment. Now he does get a dart at double 3.
6.
It's all become a little bit messy
Jason,
for
you
Mervyn.
require 38.
Should be halfway through the final leg of the match.
I agree. He'll be thinking, how am I not? Jay Wilson needs double 19. He's got 1 dart left.
No score.
And somehow that hasn't clattered its way in.
Mervyn, you require 6.
Right, Mervyn, for your next trick. 2 double 2 or straight in? 2 double 2 it is. And it's nicely done, and Mervyn King will be slightly relieved at the end of that, but it is a case of him throwing for a 6-1 win now.
To throw first. Game on.
Not one for lip reading. I didn't quite catch what Mervyn said there, but I don't think it was positive.
Yeah, his performance by virtue of that leg in large has tailed off to an average in the mid-80s. Still more than enough to have a comfortable lead and be heading for a convincing win against Wilson, who has had not much to write home about.
60.
The brilliant 180 he had, and then the leg he won, but apart from that, it's not been fantastic.
No, unfortunately, it hasn't.
100.
One thing that might be fantastic is the next game. Long-awaited debut on the Euro Tour for Glenn Durrant, the 3-time reigning Lakeside champion, who is up against
25.
one of the godfathers of German darts, Michael Rosenauer. And I am really looking forward to watching Glenn play.
60.
It just adds another dimension to the practice room when he's in there. And this is obviously Glenn's first European Tour event, and it's all new for him. But then you look at Steve Beaton, who we mentioned in a couple of legs ago. He was just sitting in a chair,
95.
just staring into space, like he was alone in the room, just having a meditation. He was oblivious to any sort of pressure.
100.
And Glenn, you could just see he was thinking about things a little bit more. And you know, this is a big deal for Glenn tonight. We are going to see him on the European Tour in a few weeks as well as this, but he wants to make a statement. He's already got that title
100.
he won a few weeks ago. Maybe the next step for him is to make an even bigger impact by doing something this week.
Well, Durrant, one of 5 players in the field to have already won an event in 2019.
MVG has done that. As we mentioned, he's going to get the winner of this, and it's looking like it's going to be Mervyn. And you've got to say that, without a doubt, Mervyn versus MVG's got a headline tomorrow night.
122.
4.18s for Bull. Bullseye. Game, shot, and the match. Mervyn King. Fantastic way to finish things off in a very mediocre performance for him, only averaging 85 and 20% on doubles. But you're only as good as your last shot, as they say, and that was good enough indeed from the King. He will play MVG for the 3rd time in 3 different arenas. Pro Tour, that goes to MVG. UK Open, that went to Mervyn King. Tie number 3, we'll find out tomorrow night. But stay tuned to PDC TV. We have the 3-time Lakeside champion coming up. It's the debut of Glenn Durrant.
Mervyn, congratulations through to the 2nd round. Average in the mid-80s, is that something that you care about in the 1st round, or just getting through there?
To be fair, it wasn't a great game. Jason didn't play as well as he can. I didn't play as well as I can. I'm just pleased to get through, to be fair.
Wir haben ihn gefragt, Average lag so bei 85 Punkten, wie zufrieden er ist. Er sagte, man muss ehrlich sein, es war kein gutes Spiel von beiden Spielern nicht. Er ist einfach froh, in der 2. Runde zu stehen jetzt. 2nd round, there's a certain Mr. Van Gerwen awaiting you. He seemed vulnerable in the last couple of weeks. That's something that you take notice of, or just don't bother?
Just play like I did at the UK Open.
Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Ich habe gesagt, in der 2. Runde wartet Michael van Gerwen auf ihn. Der schien ja in den letzten Wochen ein bisschen verletzlich, hat einige Spiele abgegeben. Und was sein Plan ist, ob er das mitbekommt, dass Van Gerwen ein bisschen schwächelt. Und er sagt, ich muss einfach so spielen wie bei den UK Open. Da hat er ihn ja geschlagen. Dabei wünschen wir ihm dann viel Erfolg, dem King, Mervyn King.